The human should have died in that alley. Every medical scanner in the city would have said the same thing. Massive blood loss. Collapsed lung. Failing organs. No emergency unit close enough. No miracle left. The rain fell in thin neon lines, washing the glow of broken signs across the wet ground. Hover traffic roared far above, uncaring. In the narrow space between steel walls, Owen Hale lay on his side, breath shallow, fingers numb. His vision faded in and out, colors smearing together like a bad dream. He had been running messages. That was all. Small jobs, small credits, nothing heroic. Humans did not always die in wars or grand disasters. Sometimes they died quietly, unseen, in places no one remembered. Owen coughed, red spilling onto the ground. So this is it, he thought. No speeches. No meaning. Just, over. Then the shadows moved. At first, he thought it was his brain failing. The darkness peeled itself away from the wall, forming a tall, slender figure. The air felt colder. Sharper. The rain did not touch her skin. She knelt beside him with unnatural grace. Her eyes were not red, not black, but a deep, glowing violet that reflected light like liquid glass. Her skin held a faint silver sheen, smooth and flawless, untouched by time. Long dark hair framed a face that looked carved rather than born. Owen tried to speak. Nothing came out. "You are dying," the woman said calmly. He almost laughed. Of course she would say that. Even death itself had decided to announce the obvious. "Relax," she continued. "I am not here to take you." Her gaze lingered on him, curious rather than cruel. Calculating. Ancient. "I am here because you should not be dying like this." Owen swallowed with effort. "That's kind of you." She tilted her head, as if amused by the tone. "Kindness is not the word. Curiosity is closer." She reached out, fingers hovering above his chest without touching. The air vibrated. His pain dulled, not gone, but distant. "You are human," she said. "Your species survives injuries that should end you. You adapt. You refuse to stop." And forced his eyes open wider. "You, stalking humans now." A faint smile touched her lips. "Observing. We have done so for a long time." Something about the word we sent a chill through him. "Name," she said suddenly. "Owen," he whispered. "Owen Hale." "I am Selvara," she replied. "And what I am about to offer you will change your fate permanently." That got his attention. "Lady," he muttered, "if this is a scam, I'm really not in a position to complain, but—" Selvara's eyes brightened. She turned her wrist, and with a single precise motion, pierced her own skin with a sharp nail. There was no blood at first. Then light spilled out. Not red. Not dark. It glowed like condensed starlight, violet and silver intertwined, pulsing softly as if alive. Owen's breath caught. "That," Selvara said, "is my blood." His mind scrambled for explanations. Drugs. Holograms. Hallucination before death. Alien, he whispered. Vampire. Her smile widened slightly. "Your word, not ours. But yes. We consume life energy to exist. We are forbidden to share our blood with other species." Owen coughed again, weaker this time. His vision dimmed. "Then don't," he said. "I'm not worth starting a war." Selvara studied him carefully. "You do not beg." "Too tired." Silence stretched. The rain hissed against the ground. "If you drink this," she said finally, "you will not die tonight. But you will not return to what you were." Owen managed a crooked smile. "Story of my life." "You will heal," Selvara continued. "You will be stronger. Faster. You will age, differently." "And the downside?" he asked. Her eyes darkened. "You will never be entirely human again." Owen closed his eyes for a moment. He thought of all the things he had never done. All the futures already taken from him by bad luck and worse timing. Then he looked at her. Better than being entirely dead. Selvara did not hesitate. She pressed her glowing palm to his lips. Drink. The moment the blood touched his tongue, the universe shattered. Light exploded behind his eyes. His body arched as if struck by lightning. Pain ripped through him, then burned away into something far deeper, rewriting, reshaping, rebuilding. Bones knit together. Organs restarted. His heart slammed once, twice, then settled into a slow, powerful rhythm that felt wrong and right at the same time. Owen screamed. The sound echoed off the walls, then cut off abruptly as his lungs filled with clean, burning air. When it ended, he lay gasping, rain cold against skin that no longer felt weak. Selvara pulled back, watching intently. "It is done," she said softly. Owen stared at his hands. The cuts were gone. The blood was gone. His pain, every trace of it, had vanished. He stood. Too easily. The world sharpened. He could hear the traffic miles away. Smell electricity, metal, life. He looked at Selvara, fear finally catching up. "I feel too much." She nodded. "That will pass. Mostly." "What did you make me?" he asked. Selvara's expression turned serious. "Something that should not exist," she said. "Something my people will fear." Sirens wailed in the distance. Selvara stepped back into the shadows. "They will come for you. For answers. For control." Owen's heart beat steadily. "Unstoppable. And dying?" he asked. She met his gaze. "That," she said, "is no longer an option." Then she vanished. Owen stood alone in the alley, rain washing over a body that refused to fail. He had survived. But somewhere in the galaxy, ancient rules had just been broken. And the consequences were already moving. Owen Hale should have collapsed from shock. Instead, he stood in the alley long after Selvara vanished, rain soaking his clothes while his body felt perfect. Not healed. Not rested. Rebuilt. His heartbeat was slow and heavy, like a machine that could run forever. Each breath filled him with more air than he needed, yet he never felt full. Sirens grew louder. Instinct told him to run. He did, and stopped short when the world blurred. One moment he was in the alley. The next, he was 20 meters away, standing at the mouth of the street. Asphalt cracked beneath his boots. He stared back at the distance, mind scrambling to catch up. "What the hell?" he whispered. The sirens were close now. Security drones swept the sky, their searchlights slicing through the rain. Owen didn't think. He moved. Not fast. Instant. He slipped between shadows, scaled a fire ladder without effort, and vanished onto a rooftop before the first drone turned the corner. He crouched there, heart steady, senses screaming. He could hear the whine of drone rotors blocks away. Smell ozone from their power cores. See heat signatures through walls like faint ghosts. This wasn't adrenaline. This was permanent. Hours later, Owen sat in an abandoned transit hub beneath the city, hands clenched, trying to understand his own breathing. He wasn't tired. He wasn't cold. The hunger, though, that was new. It wasn't for food. It was a low, aching pull, like thirst mixed with electricity. A flicker of light passed nearby. A broken power conduit sparked, arcing energy into the air. The hunger surged violently. Owen recoiled. Nope. Not touching that. The pull didn't care about his opinion. Energy flowed toward him, slow at first, then rushing. The sparks died as the conduit went dark. Owen gasped as something warm flooded his chest, satisfying in a way that scared him more than pain ever had. He stumbled back, shaking. "I didn't even touch it." Selvara's voice echoed in his memory. "We consume life energy to exist." He wasn't craving blood. He was craving power. That was when the headache hit. Images slammed into his mind, foreign, sharp, not his. Towers under alien skies. Pale figures standing in perfect silence. A council chamber carved from living stone. Eyes like Selvara's. Watching. Judging. Owen collapsed to one knee. "No," he muttered. "Get out of my head." The visions faded, leaving him gasping. Something was wrong. This wasn't just an upgrade. It was a connection. Above the city, far beyond human sensors, a vessel adjusted its orbit. Inside, Selvara stood alone in a dark chamber, one hand pressed to her chest. Her breath was shallow, unusual for her kind. The bond pulsed. "He's alive," she whispered. The doors opened silently. 3 figures entered, tall and pale, their eyes glowing brighter than hers. Ancient. Controlled. Dangerous. "You broke the law," one said, voice cold and layered. Selvara did not turn. "I saved a life." "You contaminated it," another replied. "A human now carries vampire blood." "The council will demand his death," the third said. "And yours." Selvara's jaw tightened. "Humans are not weak." "That is precisely the problem," the first said. "They adapt." Back in the city, Owen staggered to his feet as the hunger returned, sharper now. He felt eyes on him, not physically, but through the bond. Something vast had noticed him. "Okay," he said quietly. "New rule. Step 1, don't panic." That rule failed immediately when his phone buzzed. Unknown signal. Non-human encryption detected. A single message appeared on the cracked screen. "You should not exist. They are coming." And stared at the words, then laughed, a short, incredulous sound. "Yeah," he said. "I get that a lot lately." His reflection stared back from a darkened screen, eyes brighter than before, faintly glowing violet at the edges. Human. Not human. Something in between. And as alien sensors locked onto his location, Owen realized something else. He wasn't afraid. He was curious. And somewhere deep in his chest, something ancient stirred, ready to see just how far a human could go when death was no longer an option. Owen did not run from the message. He turned his phone off, slid it into his jacket, and sat on the edge of the transit platform as if waiting for a late train. The hunger pulsed again, stronger when he was still, quieter when he focused. He breathed slowly, testing it like a new muscle. "Okay," he murmured. "If this thing feeds on energy, then let's see what else it does." He stood and stretched. His joints moved too smoothly, like well-oiled machinery. He closed his eyes and listened, not just to sound, but to the spaces between sounds. He could sense power lines above the city like glowing veins. He could feel the dormant charge in the rails beneath his feet. Owen reached out, not with his hands, but with intention. A soft hum answered him. The lights in the station brightened slightly, then settled. The hunger eased. Not gone, but satisfied. He exhaled. So it's not about taking. It's about balancing. That felt right. When the drones came, he was ready. They didn't announce themselves. They never did. The air shifted, pressure dropping as 3 black shapes descended through the station's broken skylight. Their hulls shimmered, bending light. Not human tech. Clean. Purpose-built. Owen stepped into the open. "Hey," he said, raising a hand. "Before anyone starts shooting, I just want to say, this is already a weird day." The lead drone scanned him. A beam swept across his body, pausing at his chest. Anomalous bioenergetic signature detected. "Yeah," Owen replied. "That tracks." The drones fired. Owen moved. He didn't dodge like a normal person. He anticipated. The beams carved glowing scars through concrete where he had been a heartbeat earlier. He leapt, not up, but through the space between attacks, landing behind one drone. His hand connected with its hull. Energy surged. The drone went dark instantly, dropping to the floor with a hollow clang. Owen stumbled back, surprised. "I didn't mean to." The other 2 drones recalibrated, weapons charging faster. "Okay," he said, grinning despite himself. "Maybe I did." He focused, not on speed or strength, but on awareness. On adapting. He remembered Selvara's calm. Her control. The next beam hit him square in the chest. It hurt. For half a second. Then the energy vanished into him like water into sand. Owen laughed, breathless. That all you've got? The drones hesitated. Machines weren't supposed to hesitate. Owen didn't give them time to recover. He surged forward, movements efficient, almost instinctive. One drone shattered against the wall. The last tried to retreat. Owen let it go. He stood in the wrecked station, heart steady, hunger quiet, mind racing. So, he said to the empty air, I'm not invincible. But I'm definitely not fragile. Above the city, the orbiting vessel shifted again. Inside, Selvara watched the feed in silence. Her people had tapped into the drone's sensory logs before they failed. She saw what Owen had done, not just the power, but the restraint. His learning, one of the elders said coldly. Faster than predicted. Because he's human, Selvara replied. They learn by doing. He will destabilize everything, another warned. Our society is built on controlled immortality. He is uncontrolled. Selvara's eyes narrowed. You mistake control for superiority. The chamber chilled. The council has issued a directive, the first elder said. The human will be taken alive. If that fails, he will be erased. Selvara turned away. You underestimate him. Back on the ground, Owen climbed to the rooftop and watched dawn creep over the city. The sky looked sharper now, colors deeper. He could see the curvature of the horizon through the smog. His phone buzzed again. This time, the message was different. You survived. Impressive. Owen typed back before thinking. You sent kill drones. Rude. A pause. You are a liability. Owen smiled faintly. I'm a human. We get that a lot. He felt the presence then, not like the earlier visions, but closer. Watching. Waiting. Selvara, he said softly. If you can hear this. I'm not running. The air shimmered beside him. She appeared without sound, cloak drawn tight, eyes searching his face for damage. You should have fled the planet, she said. Thought about it, he replied. Then I realized something. What? They'll never stop coming. Not until they understand. Selvara studied him. Understanding is not guaranteed. Neither is control, Owen said. But humans don't wait for permission to adapt. We do it because we have to. She hesitated. You absorbed directed plasma without loss. You neutralized advanced drones. Yeah, he said. Turns out I'm good at problem solving under pressure. A ghost of a smile touched her lips. The council fears what you represent, she said. A variable they cannot cage. Then maybe it's time they learn to work with variables instead of killing them. Her eyes softened, then hardened again. They will not listen easily. And looked out at the city, the fragile lights, the people moving below, unaware of how close they'd come to something far worse. Then let's give them a reason, he said. Selvara felt it then, the shift she had dreaded and hoped for. Humans did not seek dominance first. They sought solutions. And when solutions threatened old systems, those systems either evolved or broke. Far above, the council's fleets began to move. Not to observe. To respond. And for the first time in a very long time, an ancient species prepared to face an enemy that did not fear death, because death had already lost. The sky above the city fractured. Not visually, not yet, but conceptually. One felt it before he saw it, like pressure building behind his eyes. Something massive had entered orbit. Not one ship. Many. They're not hiding anymore, Selvara said quietly, and stood at the edge of the rooftop, coat fluttering in a wind that didn't exist a moment ago. The city lights below flickered as energy grids adjusted to the sudden gravitational distortion. Let me guess, he said. Council diplomacy. Council enforcement, she corrected. They will try to contain you first. If that fails. He nodded. Erase. Selvara's jaw tightened. I should never have involved you. Owen looked at her, surprised. You saved my life. I condemned you to a different one. Funny thing, he replied. Humans don't really believe in single-purpose lives. The first ships decloaked. They were enormous, sleek, pale structures shaped like elongated crescents, glowing veins of violet light pulsing across their hulls. Virexian vampire warcraft. Designed to subdue entire worlds without leaving ruins. The city screamed. Evacuation sirens wailed as people poured into the streets, panic spreading faster than any broadcast. And felt it all, the fear, the heat of engines, the surge of energy as planetary defenses powered up in vain. They're going to flatten this place, he said. Selvara shook her head. No. That would waste resources. They will isolate you. The rest is collateral pressure. Owen clenched his fists. Not acceptable. She stared at him. You cannot fight an armada. No, he agreed. But I don't have to. He stepped forward, eyes closing. Selvara felt the shift instantly. The bond flared, not violently, but purposefully. Owen wasn't drawing power blindly anymore. He was tuning himself. The city's energy systems responded. Lights brightened. Transit rails hummed. Fusion plants stabilized. Owen wasn't draining them. He was synchronizing, letting excess energy flow through him instead of tearing the grid apart. What are you doing? Selvara demanded. Listening, he said, voice distant. Humans build systems that aren't perfect. They leak. They overflow. We learn how to ride that. A beam lanced down from orbit, a scanning pulse meant to lock onto his signature. Owen opened his eyes. The beam bent. Not deflected. Redirected. It arced harmlessly into the upper atmosphere, dissipating like mist. Selvara's breath caught. That should be impossible. Owen smiled grimly. So was surviving my injuries. A voice boomed across the city, layered and cold, transmitted directly into every mind. Owen Hale. You carry forbidden blood. Surrender yourself. Owen stepped onto the ledge, fully visible to the sky. No, he said. The pause that followed was not confusion. It was calculation. Then you will be taken. The ships fired. Not weapons. Fields. Gravity wells folded space inward, trying to compress him into stasis. Owen felt the pressure slam into him like a mountain. He screamed. Not in pain. In effort. Selvara reached for him instinctively, but he held up a hand. Don't, he gasped. Trust me. He focused, not on resisting, but on adapting. On changing shape, frequency, intent. The vampire blood responded, restructuring his cells on the fly. Human creativity met alien power in real time. The gravity field shuddered. Cracked. Collapsed. Owen dropped to one knee, breathing hard, but alive. Above, several ships flickered, their systems destabilized by feedback they had never predicted. Selvara stared, all cutting through her fear. He's rewriting interaction laws, she whispered. The council felt it too. Across the fleet, alarms sounded, not of damage, but of uncertainty. Their models failed to converge. Every projection split into thousands of unstable outcomes. Humans weren't strong because they endured forever. They were strong because they changed faster than systems designed to control them. Owen stood again, shaky but steady. He looked up at the armada and spoke, not loudly, but clearly. I didn't ask for this power. I didn't choose your blood. But I choose what happens next. Silence fell. You want me, he continued. Then listen first. The ships hesitated. Selvara felt something ancient break inside the collective consciousness of her people. The human wasn't demanding mercy. He was offering dialogue, in the middle of annihilation. And for the first time in their long, immortal history, the council realized something terrifying. They weren't facing a monster. They were facing a negotiator who could not be intimidated by death. The armada did not fire again. For a species that measured dominance in inevitability, hesitation was a fracture deeper than any weapon could cut. The Virexian Council ships hung in orbit, weapons armed, orders waiting for certainty that refused to arrive. And stood on the rooftop, rain evaporating before it touched him, the city's energy humming in harmony with his heartbeat. He was not drawing power anymore. He was part of the system now, human instinct woven into alien physics. Selvara stepped beside him, her presence steadying. "They are listening," she said softly. Ryn nodded. "Good. Because I'm done being chased." The council voice returned, slower this time. "You destabilize our order. Your existence creates unacceptable variance." Ryn looked up at the sky where ancient immortals hid behind perfect equations. "That's what humans do. We show up where the math says we shouldn't exist, and we keep going anyway." A ripple passed through the fleet, internal debate spreading like static. Selvara closed her eyes, reaching into the shared consciousness of her people. She felt fear, anger, but also something far more dangerous to an empire built on control. Doubt. "State your demand, human," the council said. Ryn took a breath. "You stop hunting me. You stop treating humanity like a problem to be solved. And you start talking to us instead of calculating how to erase us. You offer no leverage." Ryn smiled, slow and tired. "Look again." He raised his hand, not threatening, not dramatic. The city's power grid surged gently, lights glowing brighter across millions of homes. Not enough to cause harm. Just enough to prove a point. "I don't want to fight you," he said. "But I can't be contained. And neither can my species." Silence stretched across orbit. Selvara opened her eyes. "He is not lying," she projected to the council. "You saw him adapt. You felt the feedback. He is human." The word carried weight now. The council responded at last. "We will revise human classification. Status: unpredictable. Threat: deferred. Engagement: diplomatic." The city exhaled. Sirens faded. Ships powered down. The armada shifted, slowly withdrawing to higher orbit. Ryn sagged with relief, knees threatening to give out. Selvara caught him, steadying his weight. "You did it," she said quietly. He laughed weakly. "I think I just talked my way out of extinction." She studied his face, searching for regret. "There will be consequences," she warned. "For both of us." Ryn met her gaze. "Humans live with consequences. It's how we grow." Days later, the galaxy changed its language. Human worlds were no longer marked candidate for neutralization. They were labeled contact required. Human adaptability became a topic of study, not suppression. Ryn became something else entirely. Not a weapon. Not a ruler. A bridge. He refused immortality cults and power offers. He stayed human in the ways that mattered, laughing too easily, questioning authority, caring when logic said not to. Selvara stood beside him as ambassador, no longer hiding what she had done. "You altered our future," she said once, watching a joint human-Virexian station rise above a neutral moon. Ryn shook his head. "We altered it." She smiled, fangs just visible. "You still cannot die." "Yeah," he said. "But that doesn't mean I stopped living." Far across the stars, ancient civilizations updated their models. They added new variables. Human creativity. Human stubbornness. Human refusal to accept the end as final. Because humanity did not survive the universe by being the strongest. They survived by adapting faster than extinction itself. And somewhere in the deep dark, the galaxy finally learned the truth. You can kill a human. You can break a human. But once humanity decides to stand, you cannot erase them. END